Hi everyone. We're going to wait for everyone to join. Welcome to our next live session. It's getting pretty warm in New York City, so it's a little warm in here. We're just waiting for Malika to join. I just talked to her on the phone. Um, she'll join in just a second. Hi Terrence, I owe you a phone call. Hi Rahana. Okay, Malika just joined. Perfect. Let's see. Oh no. Hold on a second. Hi Rahana. Okay, we're waiting for Malika to connect.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Justina. How are you doing?
Good,
Can you,
good, good. Nice to see you.
I know, nice to see you too. I'm so happy that I can chat with you face to face, even though it's
I know,
virtual.
because we talked on the phone, so now it's finally, nice to see you beyond the photo.
Yes, how are you doing? Let me just make the volume a bit louder because for some reason it's very low.
Yes, let me know if you guys can hear us, because for me, I don't have a professional tripod, so if you saw my little contraption, you'd laugh, but have
Same
to
here, same here.
improvise.
But I hope everyone will bear with us and I hope they can hear us. If not, they can just inform us so we can speak a bit louder.
Exactly, exactly. Hi guys, everyone's joining. Perfect. So, oh, perfect. Rahana says it's clear. Awesome. So we met, like we talked on the phone twice, and I love your energy and I love what you're doing. But obviously, I didn't have time to get to know you a lot. So I know a little bit about what you do. But can you tell us in your own words, what are you up to these days, who you are, and where you're from?
Sure. Given the current situation, unfortunately, we were not able to meet, but I hope that once this is over, we'll make sure to meet, to discuss, and make sure to grab Rahana, who actually connected us. And I think she's here. So, hi, Rahana. So, a little
Okay,
information.
Rahana is always connecting me to everyone good. So
Yeah, she's energetic. And a little information about myself is I go by the name of Malika B. That is the name of my brand. And although my full name is Malika Baxtiyorovna, which is rather long, it's Uzbek, and I'm originally from Uzbekistan. So I moved to the US 2 years ago due to my job, and I've been juggling a lot of things lately. So my occupation is actually a communication specialist. But at the same time, I am the ambassador for Mentari nonprofit organization. So I'm working with the founder, Chandra, and the senior advisor, Rahana. And together we're trying to promote women empowerment. We're trying to advocate to end gender-based violence. And Mentari and Malika B are currently collaborating on a very interesting project. So we should be launching sometime in June. It's very interesting. I'm not going to spoil it. So make sure you stay tuned.
we'll
Other
do
than
a
that,
big reveal. We'll
yes,
do a
yes, yes.
big reveal, yes.
Yes, yes, of course. And other than that, I'm also a writer. So I've been writing for 13 years now. So as you can see, I have a lot on my plate, and the current pandemic is giving me the time to focus on each and every different sector of my life. So I'm very glad.
Hmm. Yes, that's great. And we chose a topic today to talk about forgiveness.
Yes.
And we were kind of going back and forth about what we should talk about. And even when Rahana first connected us, we were kind of brainstorming. Can you talk about a little bit why did we choose this topic and why it's important?
Yes, I think forgiveness is a very important topic, and it's played a crucial role in shaping who I am and where I stand today. Because I think, especially now, a lot of us are going through challenging times, difficult times. And I think we should all understand the concept of forgiveness. And I will be introducing a very interesting forgiveness ritual and how I actually come to learn it. So it all dates back about a few years ago when I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And as you know, as human beings, we're very vulnerable sometimes and we fall into a state of depression very quickly. So I went to my mom and I was sobbing. And even as an adult, sometimes we tend to go to our parents to seek for advice. So I was telling my parents that my mom that I was going through this difficulty that so-and-so did that to me. She just looked at me and she said, Malika, you have to accept the situation. You cannot go against the flow. You have to accept it. You have to learn to forgive it and to acquire a lesson from it. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean, you know? And so after that, I started to learn further in depth what forgiveness actually is. And even though, you know, forgiveness, we speak about it, it's very easy to pronounce. It's actually a long journey. And I think acceptance is what forgiveness actually really is.
Oh, that's very interesting. So you said that you knew that you had to go on this journey because your mom kind of like put you on it and she told you about it. So how do we know that we need to forgive someone in our lives? Like, how do we even begin to understand that we need to start that process?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. See, I can use like little examples, life examples. If you're sitting and you remember a certain person or a certain situation or a certain someone, and automatically it fills you with negative emotions, and you just want to shut the image of them, excuse me, image of them. You're like, okay, I don't want to talk about that. That automatically signals that there is some grudge, resentment that you're holding inside. You know, although you might say that, oh, it's okay, like we're fine, I forgave you, I forgot about you, and I closed that chapter and moved on. But in reality, in our subconscious mind, you know, in big bold letters, we still have that written down, that we have not forgiven them. We still carry the negative emotions and the baggage. So when you have that negativity conquer you, you're sending negative vibes to the universe. So that is when you understand, you have to understand, the universe is sending these people into your life and signaling you that you have not forgiven them. That negativity, the energy within you, that is the signal that you actually have to start forgiving and that you have not forgiven that person.
That's very interesting because I do have a few people, not a lot, but a few people from my past that I still, for example, like when they text me and I cut them off, I'm still like, oh, like I get all these feelings about them. And I feel like that might be a good signal that maybe I should do some of this work as well. So that's really awesome.
Exactly. When you have, another example is when you encounter a certain trial in life, for instance, with a certain someone, and like I said, you closed the chapter, you moved on, but in reality, you did not forgive. You know, the universe makes sure to return a similar case into your life until you've acquired that. So the person who is causing you this pain is actually the teacher. So you must learn to perceive that person as a teacher. And you must actually understand the trials, the challenges that are being given to you. They're like the theoretical lesson that we are taught in school. So the teacher is the person who teaches the lesson. And afterwards only, after acceptance, after understanding this, changing your perception on the situation, do you learn to accept the situation and acquire forgiveness, you know?
Oh,
It's
that's
just,
interesting. And when we talked on the phone before, you mentioned something very interesting. You said that until you resolve that issue with that one person, the universe is just going to keep on giving you the same person over and over. And it could be a friend, it could be, you know, a significant other, it could be, you know, like a coworker or a business partner or whatever. So can you talk about a little bit about that like vicious cycle?
sure.
Because I feel like we all experience that at some point.
Yes, I always love using my own life experience because it proves that the theory through the practical knowledge, and it's given proved results. So what happened was back in 2013, I was going through a very difficult like, turning point in my life, which would either break me or make me. So that was the two options I had. It was my choice, which path to choose. Although I closed that chapter, I said, that's it. I've forgotten that certain someone who's caused me pain, who's left me almost dismantled and moved on. Only 4 years later, a similar situation re-entered my life. So it was like the ghost of the past revisiting me. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've understood is I was not able to forgive the first time. So the universe ensured to intensify the level of difficulty. So the second time around, it was even more difficult than the first time. But at the same time, you know, even going through the second trial, I didn't really understand this. I didn't catch universe's signal. I'm sorry, I love using this example of the universe and energies.
Oh, me too,
Because
trust me.
more or less, you know,
Mhm.
forgiveness is spiritually cleansing yourself from negative thoughts. So after a few years, like I said, you know, I was thinking to myself, I was reflecting back and questioning myself. Because prior to questioning myself, I was once again questioning the higher power above and asking, why was that happening to me? Like questioning the higher power, not myself. I did not receive any response, unfortunately. But after I started questioning my subconscious mind, you know, I started connecting the dots because the first trial was mirroring itself in the second trial. So that's when I understood that I had not forgiven and that it was
Mhm.
time that I sit back and forgive everything and anything they have done to me and actually be grateful for them. Because it is without their guidance, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Mhm.
So we should also learn to appreciate them, as
Mhm.
odd as it might sound, but that's the truth
That's
of it.
true. That's true. It's interesting. I was just watching a video. It's on my story that I posted. It's with the Secret Service agent, and then she said that like she welcomes failure, and you always have to welcome failure. And when something happens bad, you have to welcome it in your life because it always teaches you a lesson. So I feel like it's the same with people as well. So I wanted to go back to
Yeah,
what you said when you sat down with your mom and the process you went through. Can you tell us how we can learn about it and what's the name of it and kind of how it looks like, just like a
sure,
brief overview. I would love to
sure,
learn.
sure. This is the most exciting part of the session. So, a few years back, I went to my mom, as I had mentioned earlier. I was crying. I'm like, Mom, you know, I'm going through this and that. What should I do? My mom is the most patient person in the world. Like,
Mhm.
I admire her patience. I'm not like that, unfortunately. So
Oh, same.
she was very calm, you know. She's like, Malika, you have to forgive and accept the situation. I'm like, no, I can't do that. You know, why am I supposed to forgive that person? It's not fair. And I think that's the misconception of forgiveness that most of us have. We assume that if we forgive a certain somebody or a situation, we are actually doing them a favor. When in reality, we're actually rewarding ourselves. So she looked at me and said, Malika, I will introduce to you a forgiveness ritual, a Hawaiian forgiveness ritual, which will change your life. I'm like, okay. And she said, it is called Ho'oponopono. You can imagine my reaction. I'm like, Ho'opono, what? You know, and she was very calm. She's like, it's Ho'oponopono. And this is ancient Hawaiian healers use this healing process to heal a lot of people, a lot of generations, you know. And this healing process is cleansing yourself from all the negative baggage that you have, the negative emotions you might have, that you might be carrying as early as from your childhood. You know, it's everything that we've gone through, witnessed, is in our system. And
Mhm.
it consists of 4 easy statements, which I refer to them as mantras. And they go as such: I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. So after I started learning more in depth about this Ho'oponopono forgiveness ritual, where the first 3 letters, Ho, H-O apostrophe O, mean making, and the Pono
Mhm.
means right. So making right. But this does not mean correcting like a physical mistake or an existing mistake. It is more or less bringing the mind and the heart to harmony.
Mhm.
So everything that is connected with Ho'oponopono is done spiritually within you. So these mantras, a lot of people might assume when they hear these 4 mantras that we automatically have to go to the person who's done us wrong and apologize to them. No,
Mhm.
that's not how it works.
Not a good idea sometimes.
No,
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 you
no,
have to
that's
wait.
not how it works. No, that's not how it works. That's
Mhm.
why a lot of people might say, oh, no, no, this is not for me. You know, I don't want to apologize, like automatically
Mhm.
step back. But no, when you're saying, I'm sorry, you know, these 4 mantras can be used in different sectors of your life. It can be used in a professional sector, personal, social life, it doesn't matter. So when you're saying, I'm sorry, Can I also share like the experience, practical experience, how I use this? It's very interesting. And if anyone is interested, please take notes, because this is a practice that everyone has to try at least once in their life, because it is worth it. It's worth it. It's proven results. So what you do is you close your eyes and you imagine the person who's done you wrong standing before you, you know, and you both are smiling to each other. You're not feeling any resentment, no grudge, nothing. It's just peace. And you look at them and you say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. By that, it means that you understand the person has caused you pain, but at the same time, you understand that pain is coming from somewhere, you know? It is like a passing down a baton. Somebody has hurt them, and they are hurting you now. They're passing it down to you. So that's what you mean by saying, I'm sorry, I forgive you. You understand them. And then you're saying, I love you, I thank you. You're thanking them because you've acquired that lesson. And you're thanking them because it is without their guidance, like I mentioned earlier, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this beautiful process. And I've seen it create miracles, including in my life. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a process, and I'm definitely guilty of that. And I know people who are guilty of that, that sometimes when someone does something bad in your life, like it's not necessarily you hate them, but you're kind of like, oh, you don't exist in my life. I'm out of here. And then you think that you, by cutting them off, that's it. But that's not necessarily true, because you still have to heal and do work on your own to forgive them, right? So then you
Exactly.
can just like close that chapter fully and then move on to the future.
Exactly.
So that's very interesting. So we have a question from the audience, and if you guys have any questions live now, let us know. But I've collected two. So the first one that someone asked is about a saying, and that was from Stephanie. It says, "What do you think about the saying 'forgive and forget'? Is it that easy, and is it a good advice?" Because everyone's just like, "Oh, forgive and forget them, no problem."
Yes, yes. Forgive and forget is the easiest advice anyone and everyone could ever give you, but it is not effective. Now, let me explain why. Now, when you're stumbling upon a challenge, you're seeking for advice, you're seeking for help. You want somebody to open a new door for you and actually guide you through the process. And I've actually had this a few times in my life as well, when I would go to someone and they would say, oh, forgive and forget, just move on, close the chapter. And when you hear somebody say that, it might sound convincing for a short period of time. After you hear someone, you're like, yeah, she's right. It's time to forgive and forget and move on. But after 5 minutes, trust me, that pain will be coming back into your life. So when somebody tells you to forgive and forget, it's important to explain the journey of forgiveness, to guide you through the whole process, and explain to you what it is you're benefiting from forgiving. So if you it's just saying like, play soccer. Okay, what do I do? I have the ball. What do I do? I can kick, but I don't know the rules. So it's important to explain that. Forgive and forget itself in general is very strong, if it is accompanied by this whole guidance.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's true. So that's awesome. I love this conversation. I think it's very
Yeah.
important. Oh, Mentari just joined. Hi, Sandra. I know her too, by the way. We met her with Rahana.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. I love her so much. So another audience question that we have that was submitted anonymously is that I have forgiven so many people before, forgiven, but I
Yes.
still hold grudges. Why is this happening to me?
See, that is kind of a contrast, because when you hold a grudge, that does not mean you've forgiven. Holding a grudge means you still have that resentment inside of you. Like I mentioned in our first part of the session, that every time that person pops up into the conversation or into your mind, you're transmitting this negative vibes to the universe. So when you forgive, you accept them, you accept the situation, and you actually thank them for giving you, teaching you this lesson, and you will not hold a grudge. I think the highest peak of forgiveness and maturity is when you hear of that person who's pained you, and you hear of their achievements and you're happy for them. That is forgiveness. Although it's not very easy to reach that peak. I know it takes years and years. For me, for myself, as I mentioned, You know, it took me about 4 years to come to where I am now, to accept, because I
Oh,
was
wow.
always going against the flow. I never wanted to accept. I never wanted to forgive, because I felt as if I'm forgiving, I would be like rewarding them for doing me wrong. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
then I changed my perception. So now acceptance equals forgiveness.
That's
No,
wonderful.
no grudges. No,
No grudges. No, no, no one
no,
has time for that. We have a
no.
question from Adrian over here. She says, is forgiveness immediate? How long does it take to forgive?
Oh, like I said, no, it does not give immediate results. It might give immediate results if and only if you understand and accept it. You have to accept it. You have to sit down with a cool mind. You cannot be controlled by emotions, because when you're emotional, you don't really think rationally. So you have to cool off your mind and think why this person has come into your life. What is their purpose? Because everyone serves a purpose in our lives. So you have to understand, what is the lesson they're trying to teach you. Every trial, every challenge has a hidden lesson behind it. So once
Hmm.
you start to accept it, it can be overnight if you accept it, but it can even take years. For me, it took years because I wasn't willing to accept.
Hmm.
And then once I've accepted this whole situation, I said, I had the aha moment, like Oprah Winfrey likes to say.
No, that's really good. Like sometimes you have those aha moments, and those are always the best because I feel like then like your entire just life and vibe shifts, and it's so beautiful.
That.
Yeah, so that's great. So in general, what are some like tips and tricks and tools that we can use when it comes to dealing with forgiving other people, other than the ritual that you just mentioned?
Well, first and foremost, you have to actually start forgiving yourself for making a mistake as well. Forgiveness starts with you, because oftentimes when we make a mistake, you know, we try to beat ourselves to the ground. We're saying, oh, you did this wrong. You already have the world, a lot of people against you who are trying to bring you down, you know. And why can't you be the one who is accepting yourself for who you are?
Mhm.
Once you start accepting yourself, you will learn the process of forgiveness, because you will start forgiving and accepting others. So if you cannot accept yourself for who you are with all the flaws, strengths, and weaknesses, you will never be able to forgive somebody else. So forgiveness starts with you. Accept yourself for who you are, love yourself for who you are, and never, and I love empowering women, and I usually do that through my stories. Always know your value. Never let somebody else bring down your value. Never, never. And make sure to practice Ho'oponopono.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Well, when I share it later, I'll make sure to talk about it as well, so people
Yeah,
know how to spell it exactly. I think it's wonderful, and I feel like it all starts in our own hearts and our own heads, and we really just have to analyze the people that come to our lives, and we have to know why they're coming, like you said. Like for example, I have this one, not one person, but this one kind of a person that was coming into my life like every single year or two, and I finally realized this year, and like in the last year, that I was like, oh wow, like this is a pattern that I don't want to have in my life. What do I do? So I had to do all the work to cut that pattern off, and it was very hard. But now I'm aware of it, and every time like that one specific person texts me, I'm like, oh, this is universe testing me to see if I'm ready. And it was
and
a friend. So
it's important to mention that when we speak about forgiveness, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be best friends with them or go
mhm,
out, have breakfast together. No, it's just literally meaning cutting off that negative chain that you've been carrying with yourself. For instance, if you want to climb the top of the mountain and you have heavy bags, a heavy bag, and a similar scenarios, if you're going onto the ocean or the sea and you're still carrying that heavy bag, what are the
mhm,
odds? You're not going to be stay on the surface. You're going to drown, and you won't be able to climb. So that's the same thing in life. Unless you cut off that chain, cleanse yourself from all that negative baggage that's been sitting
mhm.
here. It's the invisible energy that eats us from within. You know, you will not be able to progress personally and spiritually.
Mhm. And
Time to
that's
cut.
so it's
Time to
great.
cut the chains.
I'm sorry.
I said time to cut the chains.
Oh yes, that's true. That's true. And we carry so much already, so we don't
Exactly.
need that extra baggage. So this was
Exactly.
wonderful. I told you like we're gonna chat for like 20 minutes. It's already been 25. I don't know if you guys are watching right now. Let us know if you have any more questions for Malika. We'd love to answer them quickly. And while you guys are typing, she is yes, so many people tuned in. Wonderful. And if people don't have any more questions, can you just let us know, like, how can we find you? How can we support you? Anything that we can do for you after watching this video.
Sure. If you have any questions and you would like to learn more about this forgiveness ritual or seek any advice, please contact me at Malika_B26. I'm on Instagram, available most of the time now that I'm home, available 24/7. And I would be happy to answer any questions. And for you, Justina, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring this topic into importance, which is very important. And I wish you and WERULE all the success. And I only hope you will be continuing to prosper.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And right back at you. And I'm so glad Rohana connected us. This was wonderful. I'll make sure to post it on. It's going to be on my Instagram. It's going to be, I think, on the Insta story for 24 hours, and then we're also going to be sending it in the WeRule newsletter this week. So stay tuned. I don't think anyone had questions. People just gave us a bunch of shout outs. So thank you so much for joining. This was wonderful.
Thank you for having me. Stay safe,
Thank
guys.
you.
Stay safe.
Bye. Have a good day. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.